the history of anathema. A lot of people mispronounce this word. It's pedantic. I don't really care that much about it. Like, if you pronounce it, I've already said before on stream, like, words can be pronounced however which way. But I think a lot of people don't know that anathema is a word, which I've pulled up for you. Anathema.
Anathema.
Someone or something intensely disliked or loathed, usually used in the phrase, be anathema. So, slashing tech workforces would have been anathema in Silicon Valley just a few years ago. This is an actual word that exists. A lot of people think it's anathema. It is not. But also, yeah, Nurge, I mean, very fair. It doesn't really matter. Probably the person who made this level just picked the word because it sounds cool. So let's watch.
One of the most distinguishing mechanics in Geometry Dash is the game's built-in level editor available for all to use. Where the Impossible game fell short, Geometry Dash succeeded by offering an alternative of ways to play new levels rather than being stuck playing the main RobTop levels. Over the years, the skill of creators who frequently use the editor have become much more refined, and we've gotten to see some amazing artwork being built entirely in this game. And over time, people have found ways to collaborate with other talented creators and build levels together. Whether it was exchanging account information to sharing GMD files between each other, creators have always found a way to make it work. A good majority of fully fleshed out levels you see nowadays are actually collabs, which goes to show how much of the ways of early mega collabs influenced the game in this day and age. Depending on the scale of the project, and due to the inevitable setbacks that come with working together with large groups of people, collabs can often extend anticipated deadlines set at the start and take much longer than once thought to.
Dude, yeah, I mean, that's like the group project effect, bro. Having to work around other people's schedules is brutal.
Collabs take weeks, some take months, and some of them can even take...
Especially the freaking working with other creative types people. Some people can be super artistic and they're like, oh, this needs to happen when I feel ready for it. And it's like, bro, okay, so can you be ready when like the rest of us are?
Over a year to finish.
That'd be great.
Crazy, right? Well, if you thought so, then you're probably not ready for today's topic. The level that we are going to be talking about today was highly anticipated for many years. This project met the likes of dozens of talented creators and experienced a plethora of changes to itself. Don't believe me? Here is a side-by-side of the level in its earliest stage versus the final product today. And don't even get me started on the amount of differences.
Oh yeah, I've seen this level. This is the super rainbow colored level. Okay, I do know Anathema.
Over time. If you haven't figured it out yet, the level that we are going to be taking a trip down memory lane with is one of the most visually and aesthetically pleasing top extreme demons we've ever had, and to this day is still one of the hardest levels beaten in the game. After taking a staggering 6 years to finish being made, with its high intensity atmosphere mixed with an upbeat and positive vibe while holding some of the most challenging raw gameplay, this is the history of Anathema.
If you want to pronounce it Anathema, that's fine. It's a common mispronunciation. It's fine. It's fine. Words are fun.
But we can't just dive straight into talking about Anathema itself, no. Anathema isn't just a standalone level. If you weren't aware, Anathema is actually the 4th installment in a sequence of levels called the Dedication series. And this all started with just one small up-and-coming creator, Microdox. The Dedication series first began back on March 26, 2016, with the release of the first level in the Tetralogy. Looking at this level nowadays, it's crazy how this spawned from this. I mean, look at that gameplay, man, it's beautiful. I was trying to branch out into more styles of creating, and at the time, I was amazed by people like Galvatron, Sirpunch, and Funny Game for their ability to make effects.
Funny Game!
Specifically, Galvatron at the time was dabbling a lot in sinusoidal effects that created crazy illusions.
Did you know Funny Game used a pseudonym to make Death Moon? It was Caustic. Did you know? I know ball.
Looking at some of Galvatron's work from the time, the elements of inspiration are definitely there. Prior to the verification video of Dedication, Microdox had actually uploaded a test video called Grayscale, where they showed off some of the designs that people like Galvatron were working with. Sadly, this remained as nothing more than a demo level, but the project was quickly recycled with some of its parts being present in their other levels, such as Red Roses and Dedication itself. The reason for the level series being centered around its iconic RGB color palette was partially an accident. Microdox actually had some experience with background design, so they already had a vision for what they wanted the color scheme to be, a primary color and a neutral color. Nitro couldn't settle on just a singular primary color, so they ended up just going with all of them, which would end up being the perfect—
Dude, that was like, maybe some people relate to this. Like, I have such a fond memory of like when I was a kid, when we had to do like stuff like in coloring books or whatever, I could never pick one color. I would just always do the rainbow. Like, because like it was just cool. Like I'd always do patterns of the rainbow. Don't say what I think some of you were saying.
Perfect outcome many years down the road. Nitrodox had been playing a
Or what
lot
some of you are
feature
thinking of
tab levels
saying.
at this
I'm reading
time,
your mind. I
hence
know
why the
what you want to
gameplay is
say.
extremely easier
Yeah.
compared to what was
Yeah,
to come.
stop.
They noticed the UFO was not relatively present at the climax of many of these
Colors
levels,
are cool.
and to stand out, Nitro did exactly that, a trend that would carry on. The choice of music played a huge role in the series as well. The Living Tombstone has a very distinct style in his earlier songs, and it made it so you could very reliably spit up the song into sections.
Wait, the Living Tombstone is the guy who makes FNAF music, no?
At each section, I naturally
I feel
like to
like I've
switch
heard
up the
of them.
game mode. And there we have it. Without realizing it, they just made the complete framework for the entire level series. From the decoration, the color palette, the gameplay choices, the
Every kid ever color maxes? Then why did chat go dead when I said that? Y'all completely left me hanging there. I was like, dude, when I was a kid, I loved colors. And everybody was like,
music, everything. However, when talking about the backstory behind dedication, Nitrodox noted that these rules became very fundamental to them, saying, if it wasn't broken,
we love colors?
I didn't fix it. It's important to keep a mental note of this because things changed quite a bit when we get to Anathema, and following these rules 100% of the time could not be the case anymore. Since dedication essentially became the base for the rest of the series, Allegiance followed this with no problem. This time, we were met with a harder, better, greater variety of gameplay and an improvement in decoration quality. The name was a vague synonym of the original dedication, but it was not thought hard on much back in the day. Allegiance first previewed on YouTube on April 22nd, 2016, and was finished and verified just 2 months later on June 14th. If you notice the dates in the video, Dedication and Allegiance were released no more than 3 months apart from one another, which goes to show the absolute scale the overall series found itself in later on. Though, regarding the gameplay, Allegiance was only intended on being an easy demon, which we can see nowadays did not come to fruition. This can be directly attributable to the fact that Nitrodox was becoming familiar with the community surrounding the demon list. And since the list seemingly had no levels using the UFO at the drop, they just decided to buff Allegiance to be list-worthy, where it would be verified by Arlol and placed at number 12 on the demon list on January 17th, 2017.
This is a pretty level too. Thoughts?
As a surprise to Nitrodox, Allegiance was a huge success for them at the time, only inspiring them to create more. After Allegiance was verified, they actually did not intend to keep creating levels in the Dedication series.
That is a crazy buff, bro.
Allegiance was meant to be one and done, just a single sequel to Dedication. But after enough time passing and
I've heard of Allegiance. I never have thought to play it though, but it looks it's cool.
A small update coming out. Nitrodox would move forward with creating the sequel to Allegiance, Renovant, 7 months later. While Renovant was being made, Nightguru actually started developing the early layouts for Anathema simultaneously, marking the first instances of Anathema's existence on April 13th, 2017.
Anathema sounds like a beautiful woman's name. Gooner, okay.
Funnily enough, this caused quite some confusion among outside fans, since no one knew which level would be finished first. Not even Nitrodox. This means that in some alternate timeline, this is what we would have gotten instead. Because Renovant began production first, this was the deciding factor for Nitro to go all gas, no brakes on Renovant and finish it first. At this stage of my creating history, I was starting to feel some pretty intense imposter syndrome due to the success of Allegiance. This would only lead them to sink into a rut, trying to grasp for inspiration on Renovant. Posting previews of the level only
I've got a wolf inside me, chat. You guys are too young.
It worse, since Nitro was feeling outside pressure from the people patiently waiting for the third installment to be completed.
If someone gets it, they got it.
Break from finishing Renovant for quite a while and decorated the entirety
Good grief, that felt like an eternal silence.
This would help them sometimes.
Gotta keep you guys on your toes.
But they ended up just hating themselves for even starting Renovant in the first place. Alright, now's a good time to pause for a second. During these events of Renovant being semi in limbo, a semi-known player and victor of the top 1 Bloodlust by the name of Rory would reach out to Nitrodox at the time regarding Anathema, asking whether they could verify it.
Isn't Renovant 12 stream level? I think so, yeah.
Since they had a lineup of promising players at the time in hopes of getting one of them to accept the verification. But with Rory coming out of nowhere with a run of 76 to 100 on Anathema's early layout, this blew Nitrodox away and easily secured a spot as a standalone verifier. Why is this relevant, you may ask? You'll see in just a second. Picking up right where we left off with Renovant in its purgatory state, all of this disdain grew and grew within Nitroducks great enough that they eventually snapped and decorated the entire last 60% of Renovant in just 3 hours on around October 8th of 2017. And it shows if you look at the deco. So many copied and pasted structures.
Why is this relevant? Because it's Renovant?
I was just so mad that I wanted it done. With Renovant now completed, Nitroducks was now trying to figure out who would be the verifier among these options. Details here get a bit harder to track due to a lot of information being lost to time, but the level would be in possession by Noctifly and Flex, but finally would end up going to Aquiver, who got a run of 65% on the level in January of 2019. Somewhere along the line, at one point, the level would be passed on to Wuxi, verifier of Lucid Nightmares. In September of 2019, things seemed very promising with frequent and impressive updates regarding the verification with runs like 51%.
I think this video is very good, so I'm subscribing. I recommend you do the same.
And 42 to 100. But on September 28th, 2019, Wuxi would reach out to a certain player asking if they'd be willing to be the backup verifier for Renovant, and that player would be none other than Rory. Yeah, fun fact, Rory was actually the verifier of Anathema before they were the official verifier for Renovant. Not long after Rory and Wuxi's talk about backup verifier, Wuxi's mental state came crashing down and ended up being too emotionally unstable to move forth with the verification of Renovant, thus landing into the hands of Rory, where they would verify it on November 10th of 2019.
I beat it, yes!
W. Oh?
Now, we are all caught up.
Let's go.
It was crucial that we covered as much as we did regarding the backstory on the dedication series in order to get a full picture of the production way back when. But finally,
okay, I trust
here we
you.
are, with Anathema. Or at least in its early stages. Yeah, we are still a long way away from the final version. But here it is, just a little baby. During almost all of Renovant's building process, Anathema was just sitting in the background with a thick layer of dust over it. And basically all of the struggles Nitrodox had undergone.
It's such a cool level, it makes sense it took six years to make.
Remember how Allegiance was originally supposed to finalize the dedication
It's like
series
Mona Lisa,
all the way
bro.
back in June of 2016?
Actually, I don't know how long it took
November
to
of
paint Mona Lisa.
2019, and the absurd amount of pressure to give
like
the
art.
community one hell of a grand finale was just too much to bear. Dedication, Allegiance, and Renovant had all been solo projects, and with the addition of Nitro's confidence being the lowest it had ever been, trying to output a level on this scale felt nothing short of impossible. In addition to this astronomical burden, Nitro would often be offered help with the revival of the level, and outright refuse all of it. As time went on, people just gave up asking, and
15 years for Mona Lisa? Dang, bro.
Project. At one point,
see, that's what I'm saying. Wait, so I knew.
Time and fade away into darkness. A failed topic.
Somewhere inside of me, I knew.
On screen right now is the last preview we would receive of Anathema for nearly 2 years. But don't worry. Here is where things start to get interesting. During Anathema's hiatus, a lot would be brewing in the background regarding the level. Earlier, I mentioned that Rory was given the verification rights to Anathema, set to make it the hardest level in the game. But with Nitroducks being far from active on GD, and even getting their original Discord account banned around early 2020, Rory was not too keen on letting Anathema go out with a whimper. Since Anathema had so much momentum going for itself, Rory attempted to revive Anathema with the help of creator Jakob Nugget. On screen right now are 3 parts of Rory and Jakob's version of Anathema that were lost to time, each uploaded on July 20th, 2020, so this is right smack
This looks slightly harder than Bloodbath.
in the middle of Anathema's dead period. And you can immediately tell the difference comparing this decoration style to Nitrodox's signature style for the series. Just at face value, these parts feel too static and alienated to the charm of the dedication series. And sure, these are very outdated, but even for the time, these just didn't remain very faithful to the original. They may have been less than ideal, but in the grand scheme of things, Anathema was back. Not even knowing it at the time, Rory and Jakob were probably making the best decision possible by making an unauthorized version of Anathema. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this new version of Anathema was made without permission of Nitrodox, leading to the forthcoming events. Around the same time in 2020, talented creator It's Hybrid was becoming a wider known name in the community with uploads of their decorations from iconic upcoming levels and hosting impressive
Is this the golden or is it something else?
mega collabs. At the time, Nitrodox's Anathema, the official version, was still considered completely dead. Hybrid and their friend Antares decided to pull up one of the Anathema leaks uploaded online and wanted to optimize it for fun and playability.
It was like the same
It
colors.
wasn't long after that Antares would recommend Hybrid should get in contact with Nitrodox to try and work together to get the level revived. The conversation probably went something along the lines of, dude, you host levels, why don't you try and bring this back? It's now late 2020, and It's Hybrid had come to Nitrodox with the proposal of helping them finish off the level with a bang. Funny enough, since Nycro was still hardly playing the game, Hybrid actually had to do quite the amount of convincing. But in the end, the cherry on top to Hybrid's salesperson negotiation would be telling Nycrodox that there was an unofficial version being made, using the same gameplay, but an entirely different decoration style. Of course, they were not very thrilled with the idea of another group finishing off the series, and this would be the straw that broke the camel's back. By early 2021,
You verified the golden? Nice,
Hybrid
bro.
and Nycrodox have now officially revived Anathema, with Nycro co-hosting the level along with Hybrid. Soon after, a test demo of ZipXbox's part in Anathema would emerge, marking the first known preview of the new and improved project. Anathema was now back in full swing, with a whole new wave of passion overtaking the project. Progress had been made over time, and the
Dude, he predicted passion. This was 8 months ago. How do you know?
level would receive its first update in nearly 2 years on Nycrodox's channel, with the final trailer and final preview both uploaded in a span of less than a week in early
That word
August
just
of
came out.
2021. Here we can instantly see an improvement in quality of decoration, with the deco hardly resembling to that of Anathema's original preview, alongside staying true to the charm of the dedication series. The revival of Anathema would also cause Nycrodox to meet the group of TM Co., most well known for their levels like Unnamed 666, Scream Machine, Fairy Knife Hell, and Dead of Night over time. It was my first introduction to TM, as well as all the great and creative people within it. Working with Hybrid, ZipXbox, Iris, and especially Alternative was and is a blast. These guys are passionate, creative, and incredibly skillful at knowing what works and what doesn't. The last note would prove to be most crucial since, keep in mind, the dedication series started out as only consisting of solo levels, so it was only inevitable that Nycro
Should
would
we
feel
play
some
Anathema,
sense of
chat?
uncertainty when
I'm
it
starting to
came
get sold
the
on it.
decoration process. Would they carry out Nycro's original vision? Are they going to end up being too experimental and screw up the original direction of the series? To their surprise, they were nothing short of visionaries. They were able to develop a new style for Anathema based on the old, outdated decoration that was already
It's
there,
a pretty
while
level,
staying
bro.
true to the original style of the series.
Gameplay looks fun, too.
I have never been as happy with the project's result as I am with Anathema. They are also incredibly supportive and are the single reason why I'm still playing Geometry
It's number
Dash to this
17
day.
right now?
Without them, I wouldn't have had the confidence to have continued after Renovant. Period. Another
Maybe
major
that's an
eye-catcher
after
were the
Slaughterhouse
distinct
thing.
visual improvements from 2019
Way
Anathema
down the
to
road.
the new version. The old deco did not age well, and the level was terribly optimized, which was why it seemingly changed so much from old previews to new ones. The Anathema revival would remain in consistent development from this point onward. Quite a few of the parts went through a huge overhaul caused by the age of the level as stated before. I mean,
It's so
just
pretty,
look
bro.
at this
I've said that
side-by-side
8 times.
intro
There can be a
comparison.
counter this video.
That is a crazy improvement. ZipXbox's second part also went through a lot of changes, with a much more updated
Call me Skittles the way I love the rainbow.
version playing on the right. From a host standpoint, there were not really any major challenges that we faced. Only small disputes on some details here and there, but it mostly went smoothly. Since Nycrodox had been taken under the wing by a team who had nothing but positive interactions with one another, it makes
Thanks.
perfect sense that the group worked so well together. The date is now May 24th, 2023, 2 years after being picked up by TM, and under development for a total of 6 years now, dating back to its first ever appearance.
Who is that young man?
After all these years of the community waiting, Nycro would tweet out, "Anathema decoration is done." This was it, the final stretch. Everyone was stoked to hear the wait was finally coming to an end, and by July 4th of that same year, Nycrodox would upload the final showcase of Anathema.
Dude, this was probably peak.
Upon the release of the final showcase, the team would be met with nothing but a wave of overwhelming support. Thousands upon thousands of people were watching Anathema in its final form, and had nothing but positive things to say about it. Although, the story of Anathema would not end here just yet, as the matter of finding a verifier would still be present. Thankfully, this was already taken
I'll take care. Oh,
care of. Back when Nycrodox made their final tweet about Anathema getting finished, they would leave a reply underneath it with the words, "Double PS, Rory is the verifier." This is such a nice gesture to stay true to the series, with Nycrodox keeping their word and allowing for Rory to be the verifier over 4 years after their first contact with each other. And the community was very much in support of this decision. Side note, I think it's really cool Nycrodox still wanted Rory to be the verifier of Anathema, despite the
yeah, it's fine. I don't mind.
troubles of the unofficial version that were being made. Quite the nice gesture if you ask me. Fortunately, progress would be made public very soon after the showcase. Nycro would upload a clip of Rory doing 53 to 77 on the level on August 30th. But what stood out about this clip was not the run itself, but the caption stating the level was now buffed to be harder than Acheron, the game's hardest level at the time. Even after all these years later, Anathema still stayed true to its goal of being the top one. Kind of crazy how enough time had passed that Anathema had to go from being just harder than Bloodlust to now harder than Acheron. This was a massive boost
That's
of
how we
hype
do.
for the level, and things seem to be going great. But those of you watching at home who are already familiar with Anathema
One day, folks, someone will be making a similar video about TeejVeen.
Anathema, this would not last forever. Rory would slowly back off from Twitter over time, and just as suddenly as it started, they would stop uploading progress online as well. To be honest, I just wasn't expecting the level to take as long as it did to be finished. When I got it back in 2019, I was in middle school and had all the time in the world. I eventually stopped playing Geometry Dash in late 2020, yet I still held out some fringe hope that Anathema would someday be finished and I would be able to come back and do it. Unfortunately, by the time the level was finished and ready to be verified, I was going into college and was just in a much different phase of my life than I thought I would be when I got the verification. Life simply just caught up to them too fast, and the overall delays on the level would come back to haunt not only Rory, but Necrodox too. Rory was the verifier of Renevent, and it felt almost symbolic to have Rory finish off the dedication series once and for all. But this just wouldn't end up being the
Rory's a tough name, by the way.
case, sadly. The level appeared to be in a state of limbo for a period of time. If you haven't noticed already based on the dates, the release of 2.2 would also attribute to the level getting set back months, with the team fixing everything due to the new in-game physics. With no updates from Rory or Necrodox, Anathema went on the back burner of community hype regarding top extreme demons. Surprisingly, Rory would upload a new
Limbo
final Anathema progress all the way on April 6, 2024, just short of a year later from their first progress clips. The run was not anything groundbreaking, but just a simple update on progress for the level. In the title though, Anathema was now labeled as only being top 10 worthy, since so much time had passed that Acheron had now fallen to number 3 on the list. This wasn't too big of a deal though, as it was still projected to be one of the hardest levels in the game when released. But as we discussed previously, Rory didn't have the time to finish it off. The team was now stunted with the task of finding a new verifier, someone who could be guaranteed to verify the level in a reasonable amount of time, while also ensuring that Anathema would still be pretty difficult.
No worries, guys. I'll take care of it.
Decisions. Enter Whiz Kid,
Never mind.
an underdog, up-and-coming top player, fresh off of some very impressive achievements on the demon list. Ignoring their unconventional skill sets that were seen as nothing but bizarre at the time, Whiz Kid would prove time and time again that they always had the motivation to complete the hardest levels the game has to offer. And by June 21st, 2 months after the last public progress of Anathema, and nearly a year after its final showcase,
Dude, my dream is one day we're going to react to one of these videos about a level where it's like, and guess who came into the verification race? And I'm going to make that joke of like, it was me, and then it's actually going to be me. Cinema.
Whiz Kid would be announced as the new verifier for Anathema.
Cinema.
Starting off with a bang, they would upload a crazy
We're a long way off.
run of 41% and 58 to 100. Nearly getting the level in 2 runs on their first progress video. I think one of the coolest things about Whiz Kid is the sheer amount of grit they have for this game. Mind you, Whiz Kid is verifying an upcoming top 5 to 10 level, their soon to be hardest, and still manages to beat the top 1 platformer at the time on the side. I don't even know what to say to that, than to just be impressed. Absolute wizard of this game. Progress would continue on smoothly and at a much more rapid rate than we saw in the past. We got 65%, then a 70%, and then an 80%, and then, oh my god, 95%. Guys, it's happening.
This guy's a real whiz kid.
We are in the end game after all these years. Nah, just kidding. Whiz Kid didn't drop it. That would suck if they did though. They just ended up wanting to take a break from the level due to their enjoyment ratings reaching a new low, and overall just wanted a quick refresher playing some other stuff. So, as a sensible option, Whiz Kid beat Firework. Yeah, Firework. As a break, I'm telling you man, these
I've heard that level is kind of hard.
top players are actually just unstoppable. With this Firework completion followed by an extended list plus a main list verification, Anathema was back in full swing again. I'm sure we've all been here before. Dying that far into a level hurts bad, and we can't even imagine how much it hurts to die.
I've never died in Geometry Dash before. Trust.
So late into one of the next hardest levels in the game and straight up making history in the progress. But this is Whiz Kid we're talking about here, and Whiz Kid doesn't give up. And on the fateful day of November 19th, 2024, 5 months after Whiz Kid picked it up, 16 months after its final showcase, and 91 months since its first ever appearance online, Whiz Kid would do the unthinkable after 82,000 attempts and gut-wrenching deaths at the ending. Whiz Kid would verify it.
Bang.
I've been trying for so long to sing you the right song.
That song's hard.
Something different every day.
The level would be rated and initially placed at number 6 on the demon list, and later on moved up to be the 3rd hardest level in the game. Today, Anathema has 15 victors and many, many more to come.
But something
Yeah, I'll do it. Wait, is that?
I think it's unlikely I'll ever beat it. I haven't played the game for more than a few hours in more than 5 years.
I thought the video ended.
And now that I'm in my 20s, it's just hard to imagine having the
Whoopsies.
time and especially the motivation to do it. I will say, if I ever do come back to beat one last level, it would probably be Anathema.
Hit it. Please,
if I were to
Rory.
go back and change anything, the only thing I'd change is my part. I'm not big on it, and I've obviously improved a lot since then, even before the level came out. But it is what it is. It was one of the most fun experiences I've had making a level. It was one of my favorite upcoming levels when it was previewed for the very first time all those years ago, and I'm extremely happy to be a part of it. In the end, I wouldn't have changed anything. The Dedication series has exposed me to thousands of amazing people. Creators, top players, influencers, people with stories of how my worthless work impacted them. The entire purpose of the series was to dedicate my time and effort to those who had inspired, helped, ridiculed, critiqued, and dedicated their time to me or my work, and as a result, I am humbled to say that Anathema has more than 300 names in it. People who have helped me along the way, people who have inspired me, even some people who have hurt me are in that list. That list is a rough culmination of 9 years of interactions and work, and so I would not have changed a single thing. Every name in that list tells a story, and so I hope that along the way, I and everyone who helped me were able to inspire others in the same way that Galvatron, Jazor, Serpunj, and Kermal inspired me. A big thank you to everyone.
That was bars, bro. I got chills hearing him read that. That was very succinctly put. Wow.
Everyone who made it to the end of
Powerful.
the video. This is without a doubt one of
Wow.
my most challenging videos I've ever made. This idea was conceived all the way back in January of this year, and I am so happy to have finally turned this idea into a real video. So an astronomically big thank you to It's Hybrid, Rory, Whiz Kid, and Nicrodox for helping me bring this project to life. And a special thank you to Nicrodox for pretty much helping me write this whole script. I really could not have done this without them, seriously. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten you guys. Without your support, these videos would not be possible. So thank you to everyone who watches at home, and a special thanks to our awesome channel members and Discord server boosters. You guys rock as always. Anathema has always been one of my favorite top levels when it was in its building phase, right up to its verification. So it's pretty neat I was given the opportunity to make this a real video after 9 months. Before you go, I'm really hoping we can cross 30,000 subs by the end of the year, and with your help, I know we can crush that. I hope everyone enjoyed this wild ride of a video, and as always, thanks for watching and take care. I'll see you next time.
Dude, hell yeah. Frickin' W video chat. I get why you guys have been recommending that for so long. Like, you've genuinely, like, I think since we started Reacts, people have been recommending this video. I'm sorry that I stalled so much on it. This was an awesome video, dude. It reminds me of that one quote, or like, there's not a quote, but like, it's the whole idea, chat, that there are like millions upon millions of like books that exist throughout all of human history. So many books that exist that like you'll never, if you dedicated your whole life and every hour of your waking life to try and read every book, you would never be able to do it. And it's just crazy that every book has like this level or like has a similar story like this of just like years of development, the passion and dedication of one individual building and creating something. It's just the depth of that across the breadth of the human experience is so just like absolutely like it's a beautiful thing to me, bro. Like there's this whole deep story to this level that we all just get to play now. We all just get to play it. Like years in the making, and to hear like the creator reflect on it in such a poignant and beautiful way, it's like, this is a great video, bro. I loved it, bro. I loved it. I have been sold a bit more on Anathema, bro. I've been sold a little bit more. It's on my radar now. We'll keep it that way. It's on my radar. Great video, great story. Guys, go in the description, join the Discord, go to the React to this Teach channel, drop videos you want me to react to there. Be sure to fire react. That's how you upvote them. That's how this video got on my radar and how I knew that people wanted me to react to it. So here we are. Pretty cool. So do that. It's the best way to figure out what we should do on this stream together. But in the meantime, take care of yourself. Have a great rest of your night, noon, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next React. Peace. Did you like that? Don't even pretend like you didn't. You made it that far in the video. Well, did you know that I stream Monday through Friday on Twitch and YouTube, and you could catch me live and get to be a part of the experience when it happens? Also, if you don't care about that, or otherwise you want to see more of the video that you just watched, link in the description to watch the full VOD. Do that, please. I have a black eye because I play basketball sometimes. Bye. Oh,